I think that I want to be an example in the industry of whatever comes. So if we, one thing I've always done is I've taken the harder path in life, and it wasn't very popular to buy your own trucks and to invest in the assets when you could be in an asset light business and make more money. Right now, our asset light business makes more money than our actual asset business. You have way less expense, way less liability. That's just the transportation realm that we live in right now, right? So I do think there's a shift coming where that's going to end. I think assets are going to be key. I think that man, I've been watching a lot of things happening geopolitically, and the dollar is not doing very well. And all these things that happen on the news and they put all over Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and stuff, that all stuff is just made to distract you because there's some serious things taking place with the dollar, and they've been taking place for a whole decade already. And if we don't begin to think and align ourselves that way, then we kind of are not going to be prepared. So the reason that I went asset is because I believe tangible assets, physical things you can touch, are going to be of value here in the very, very few coming days. So I would like to sell the whole fleet, bring in lease trucks with owner ops, run the logistics company, and invest there, and maybe I got my dealer's license, so I'm going to start flipping, trucks. I'm going to start buying and selling used trucks. But I can't give up yet because I've been holding on to this thought or this theory since I had one truck.
Yeah.
And God had given me that understanding, and I continue to invest, and supernatural miracles took place for me to have, 25 trailers and 15 trucks now.
Yeah.
Within no time, like 5 years?
So what do you think? What do you think sets apart an asset-based company? Like what
Control.
makes this? No, I just mean like asset-based company versus asset-based company. Like what?
Okay.
What sets you apart from say some of our peers that have 15, 20 trucks as well? Like what do you think the key to success is on a fleet your size to make sure that you're still customer centric, to make sure the customer's taking
Humility. That's what I found that sets us apart. We're able to stay in the situations that we're in because even if you're right, it doesn't matter if you're right.
Right.
None of that matters. If you're wrong, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're right. What matters is that we continue to humble ourselves and move forward and understand that you don't have to be right all the time.
Yeah.
That at the end of the day, that's one thing I love about time. Time tells the truth. So through time, all these things that you were saying will come to pass if it was the truth. If not, it will not come to pass.
Right.
So those are the type of things that I think set like a company just like ours built the same way apart is humility, and it starts with the leaders up top, not always having to be right. When you have that type of power and you have that type of control where you can, throw it around everywhere, choosing not to use it. Humbleness is not thinking of yourself any less. It's just thinking more of others. So if you think of yourself very highly, which you should, you need to begin to think of others right above that. And if you continue to elevate yourself of how you think of yourself, then you're elevating others at the same time. So, man, I've been through some stressful situations where I didn't want to humble myself. I wanted to slap somebody.
Yeah.
I wanted to give up. I wanted to quit.
So, again, from just thinking about assets and having that, more variables of things that could happen, it just makes me really think about the maintenance side of the business. And I feel like if you don't have your maintenance in line, you may not even have a trucking company. Is that fair to say?
I think so, but that part comes natural to me.
Yeah.
Somebody
doesn't come natural to.
Okay, that would be different. So that would be like I've been fixing stuff. I was the 9-year-old that my neighbor put a lawnmower on the corner of her yard to throw away. I went and grabbed it, rolled it home, fixed it, cut her yard for $30 with it, and sold it back to her for $100. So that side of the
I'm a
business,
hustler, baby.
you know what? Now that you say that, Chris, I'm thinking about it, and yeah, maybe that's what's got.
That's why you like that asset side of the business.
Yep. Something breaks, let's fix it.
Yeah.
And I like fixing it, and I like to fix things fast too. You know, one thing I'm real proud of. I had a driver overheat one of my C15s, Caterpillar engine, and it pulled in on a Tuesday on a wrecker into the shop. Next Tuesday, we fired it up and pulled it out the shop.
Total
In 1
rebuild.
week, we completely did a full overhaul on the truck. But I was passionate that I was going to do it as fast as I can. Yeah, it was going to cost me $20,000 in parts to do it.
Gosh.
But if I could get that truck back on the road, because it was a busy season, that truck could revenue, $7,000 a week.
Yeah. And it's
in a
got to
good
be
week.
fixed. So
And,
might as well
and
do it now.
yeah, why cry about it and let it take a month?
Yep.
Then fix it in 1 week, and in the next 3 weeks, it makes you back that gross revenue.
And see, that's what, when I think about an asset-based company and I think about the term like customer obsession and customer centric, like that's what you bring to the table though. You have an issue on a load, you have an asset to go recover it. You have an issue on the road, you have a maintenance team that's ready to go. You have an issue on the road, it's not like, oh no, what happens next? You already have a plan in place to be able to overcome it, to where, on the broker side of the business, if you have a truck broke down, it's a little bit of a panic mode. Like, hey, are we going to ride this thing out? We're going to, hey, let's get an ETA from the shop that you probably are just checked into, that you've never met before, that you don't have a relationship with.
You said maintenance, and it's very humbling for the owner to be a part of the maintenance and working on trucks. So I think they go hand in hand together, so I think you're right, is maintenance can separate you.
Yeah. And I just, the time I've known you, and like a lot of your focus goes on the maintenance side of the business, because that's what separates you, in my opinion, from an outsider's view.
I think you're right.
Your maintenance team separates you from our peers. You guys are fantastic, right? But you put a lot of time, a lot of effort. Hey, do your PMs, do your post trips, do your pre-trip. Hey, get this thing in line, because this is our livelihood. Where, on the broker side of the business, we don't have to focus on that as much. It's more of relationships and selling and customer satisfaction. And it's not, but all that stuff I just talked about on the asset side of the business comes from maintenance in your trucks, making sure making sure that equipment's ready to do what the broker needs us to do. And in your case, if you don't use a broker and your customer freight, but that's the exact same thing I'm saying in a different realm. Over here, I'm talking about almost words like, hey, let's execute. Over here, you're doing it on the maintenance side before to make sure that you can execute.
Yeah. I heard somebody tell my wife one day, we were getting into the trucking business and they were coming out of it. And she said, if I can warn you about anything, it's maintenance. She says, the price of maintenance is so high. Like, we would make money and we would take the truck into the shop and the bills were so high that we just couldn't keep up with it. And at that point, I decided in my heart that would not be me.
Right.
So I learned everything about a semi truck and trailer, to where when I would go somewhere and they would try to pull the wool over my eyes, they'd try to make me look like I didn't know.
Hey, this spark plug costs $3,000.
Right? Spark plug in a diesel motor or engine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm that guy that calls it a motor and not an engine. I apologize for all you critics.
Yeah. We're going to cut that out anyway. So
yeah, they couldn't get me. There's just not a way that you're going to tell me to replace something that doesn't need to be replaced. A lot of owner operators are taking their trucks, and fleet owners, to shops, and they're replacing things that do not need to be replaced. And that will eat up all your money.
Yeah.
Right now, there's a lot of money in mechanics.
Yep. Which ultimately comes straight off of the revenue that your company's making and your profits, which means somebody has to pay for it. And a lot of times that reflects back to the customer. It's like, they're helping pay the bills, but if my cost gets higher, my rates need to kind of stay in line with that. If cost goes up, rates have to go up. I mean, on an asset-based side, right? So the best you can do to keep your costs down is something else that can set yourself from your peers. And so from a customer perspective, when I'm trying to make a decision of when to use a broker, when to use an asset-based carrier, I mean, there's 50 different ways that I can answer that, but what we just talked about is a small glimpse of that. Like, brokers seem to have a bad rap of, drivers falling off, not having the customer service levels that we need to have, horrible communication, because there's so many hands in the pot, right? So a lot of these companies that focus on, hey, I'm only going to use an asset, that's where that comes from, is you communicate well. Your trucks are serviced. I know your drivers. We know if something happens, you're going to overcome it very fast. To where in the industry, the brokers kind of have a bad rap. So, at Unity, one thing we focus on more than anything else is how can I be a asset light, non-asset based company, a broker, but give you the exact same feel as an asset based company would do? What sets me apart from you? And, we're in the people business. People want to do business with people, but at the end of the day, you still have to service the customer at a high level. So where does that come from? Focusing on the carrier, making sure that you're getting the right guys in there to pick up the freight for that particular customer, making sure that you have such a great relationship with the customer. We're getting all the information we need to be successful, where they've struggled at in the past. And I would love to never, ever, ever put a load on the broker board. If I can keep a load off the broker board, correct, I did my job correctly.
Thank you guys for tuning into That Trucking Gospel. New episodes every Tuesday. You can find us on all our social media platforms. Thank you guys. Till next time.